What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. the future class of video games, a.k.a. the man with a broken knee, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Are you the reason why people keep asking me if my knee's broken? Because I've been getting that a lot.
Well, I'm not the reason. The reason would be that you, of course, Instagrammed about your knee being hurt, and then I did mention on Games Daily. I didn't say it was broken, but right there I said it. I said you hurt your knee. You hurt your knee limboing. Is that right? That's what I think I might have.
Not limbo. It was the cha-cha slide. It was the cha-cha slide.
I was doing one of those.
I was doing cha-cha slide.
Yeah,
Gary gets the electric slide, and I was like, "That's not right, Gary."
I did do the electric slide. And
sure, but you're not gonna get hurt.
I'm not gonna get hurt, but I could have been like I never. So the knee didn't hurt until after the wedding reception, but like I attribute it to the cha-cha slide because they have the part where they ask how low can you go, and I went down very low. I went so low where I was like, maybe this is too low, but hey, I'm doing all right. I'm gonna come back from this. And then post wedding, I started to feel my knee like slowly feel more pain as the night went on, and I was like, it was probably the cha-cha slide, but I did also do the electric slide, and there was a lot of salsaing going on.
Sure,
maybe could have been that because there was a lot of knees involved in the salsaing, but
sure,
I'm gonna go with the cha-cha slide. I think that did it.
How is the knee now? Are you rehabbing it? Are you icing it? Are you letting it rest?
Now it's good. There's like still slight feeling in there, but Thank
God. Yeah, I don't think you mean what you mean when you say that.
I can feel my knee, but also like there's like a weird tension, like not phantom pain, not like MGS5, but like there is like a pain residue. Great game. Quiet only for the pervs, Greg. You know what I mean? Only for the pervs, like Greg Miller who played that game.
You would know. You would know. All right, get out your 13 Sentinels. Oh, I gotta get my mech. Better get nudie. What are they talking about, Andy?
I don't know.
You gotta take off the thing to put on the thing. You know what I mean? Like you can't just go into a mech with clothes on. That's like putting on 2 layers.
Now we can all agree though. We can all agree at the end of Cyberpunk 2077, after we had all romanced Pan Am and we had sex in that machine. That was cool, right?
Oh, real cool.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, that was real cool.
I had to stop the stream, just crank one out real quick.
Jesus God. Fucking, that was intense.
As the night went on, like I was probably up until like 2 a.m. And yeah, by 2 a.m., I had to limp back to my hotel room. Like that's how much my knee hurt. And then I took an Advil, woke up the next morning, and it was like magic where I just felt better all of a sudden. And so like,
you're young.
Thankfully it didn't just continue to inflame or whatever. Like it got better. So I'm good now. My knee's not broken.
Good. I was worried about you. I'm glad to have you back. It's good to have you here. Just like it's good to have the Hispanic heartthrob Texas treat, Latino heat, clicking heads and ripping them to shreds, the globe-trotting, head-shotting, nitro rifle from twitch.tv, Andy Cortez.
Rejoice, for he is risen. He is risen once again. The nitro rifle, Overwatch 2. Woo! Felt good, baby. Felt good.
Andy has been playing a lot of Overwatch 2. Blessing has been playing Overwatch 2 as well. But more importantly, for when Blessing will talk, he's been playing Nintendo Switch Sports. We're going to talk about all that and more because this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every week, we come together to nerd out about all the things we love and sometimes don't love about video games. If you love video games and love us talking about them, head over to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Over on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, you can write and be part of the show. You can get the show ad-free. You can get the exclusive post show we do. Blessing, do you have a family feud or a funny feud today?
Kind of feudy. Yes, I do.
All right, we're gonna have some fun playing that. And of course, over on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, usually you can watch live. Sadly today, because of the Nintendo Switch Sports embargo, you cannot, but we make it up to you by being funny and having stuff in embargo, I guess. I don't know. You want the content, we have the content. Of course, if you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can get each and every episode of the Gamescast live. Not right. That's not right. You can just get it over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. Of course, if you're getting it later for free, you have to listen to the ads. Of course, you're not getting the post show. You're not watching live when you can, but you're still having a great time. Just like you could be having a great time when you use the creator code KindaFunny on the Epic Games Store. Of course, you put it there, you buy some stuff, you give us some money. It's great. You might say, I don't play on the PC. I totally understand and respect that. If you're playing Fortnite, Rocket League, or Fall Guys on your Switch, Xbox, or PlayStation, of course, the Kinda Funny creator code works there too. Go ahead and enter it and then get some V-Bucks and have a great time out there. Just like the one and only Kevin Coelho does. Big dog Kevin Coelho out there. I have no guarantee he actually uses the creator code Kinda Funny, but I bet
he has to.
He plays Fortnite. Does he? It's Kevin. That definitely seems like a step Kevin would miss.
I'm sure. I'm sure he does. Well, I guess the problem with it, Greg, is that you have to keep on typing it in every month, so that could be something you forget about. Just like with Amazon Prime, I think it resets every month or something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, when I booted up and had to put it in for this season of Fortnite, I thought it was because I hadn't played like I thought something got updated like last season. I didn't realize it was a monthly thing.
I could also see Kevin being like, if we brought it up to him, being like, "How was I supposed to know that the code was kind of funny?" You know, like something like that.
100%. Yeah,
how's that my fault?
GameSpot code.
How's that my fault?
That's CEO Junior Barrett Courtney on the ones and twos making the show happen. Thank you so much, Barrett. And thank you, of course, for everyone who makes it happen by going to patreon.com/kindafunnygames. For now, though, let's talk about housekeeping right now. Kinda Funny Wrestling, KFW, April Anarchy is up on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. It's an hour and a half of Kinda Funny Wrestling. If you're not familiar, we have a bunch of AI versions of ourselves go out and wrestle each other for glory and fame. We have amazing, we've done this for multiple weeks now. April Anarchy is the pinnacle of what we've been able to accomplish. Amazing edited packages by Matt Batson. Of course, you have an original song ready to be played for it. You have amazing matches, and then you got promos from everybody, including my favorite, which is Joey Noel just being disturbing, which is not Joey's usual gnome to plum, but this time she is. So please go check it out. Even if you don't like wrestling, the people who say, I don't watch wrestling, this is cool, are enjoying it. You can go over there and watch Alana. You can go over there. You can watch me. You can watch Khalif. A whole bunch of people are wrestling and having a great time. YouTube.com/kindafunnygames. KFW April Anarchy. Of course, thank you to our Patreon producers, Fargo Brady, Pranksky, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, First Responder ND, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, Casey Andrew, and Anonymous. Today we're brought to you by Lumen, Brother Printers, and Razer. But first, our topic of the show, video game impressions. Andy, you've played Overwatch 2. Blessing, again, just for the sake of argument, you've played Nintendo Switch Sports. I want you to talk about both these games, but we will let the fates... You each get 5 minutes on the clock, talking the exact same time. Barrett will play the audio tracks backwards. No. I will let the fates decide. On here, I have put a number between 1 and 5.
Oh.
The person who guesses closest to it gets to go first. Blessing, you're on the clock.
I'm going to guess 4 because it's my favorite number.
I like that and I appreciate that. 1 to 5, you can't pick 4. Andy, what's your number?
3.
I appreciate you being close to it, but ladies and gentlemen, Blessing's done it again.
Wow.
4.
There it is.
Wow.
There it is.
On the nose. Blessing,
Rich failed me.
Tell me all about Nintendo Switch Sports. Available this Friday, April 29th.
So my impressions for Nintendo Switch Sports are going to be very light impressions because, like, as of now, right, as a reviewer, I've not had access to online. I've been able to play locally the games and sports that are there. What that means is it seems like I don't have access to the bulk of the progression in the game, because what I've learned playing the single player portions of Nintendo Switch Sports is that there's basically no progression, right? Like, it is what it is. It is Wii Sports, right? It is them bringing in new sports, removing some sports. Like, there's not baseball there, which for me is a bummer because baseball was probably my favorite sport in original Wii Sports.
Home run.
Yeah. But, like, you know, you have tennis because you got to have tennis. They have bowling because you got to have bowling. And then they have things like Shambara, which is like sword fighting. They have badminton, which is new, which plays a lot like tennis, but mechanically is a little bit different. And then they have volleyball and stuff, and soccer. And soccer is a huge one, right?
That's all 6 of them, right? Yeah.
That's all 6 of the sports right there. The ones that you know, right? Tennis and bowling play exactly the way you expect them to play. Bowling, I don't think anything's really changed. Tennis is pretty much the same. I think the thing that has made it interesting to play this time around is, like, one, it's HD, right? You get like the high definition, and that's even a step up from Wii Sports because that came out on the Wii back in the day. So you get that, right? The nice 1080. But then you also have the Switch Joy-Cons, which in my head feel different than the Wiimotes. And I wish I still had my Wii and a copy of Wii Sports so I can, like, play them back to back. Because I swear to God, the Joy-Con feels more accurate in a way where, like, it feels more precise, and it's almost
I would hope so, right? I mean, that was the big thing. I remember the Wiimote was simulating so much of that, and then eventually we had what they call it, the little adapter on the bottom that was supposed to make it more one.
Yeah, the Wii Motion Plus.
Wii Motion Plus. Thank you so much.
Right?
Yeah, remember? But like, so yeah, that was my main question for you. Even though you haven't gotten into the modes and stuff, I want to know how a Joy-Con feels to it. And even, you know, Barrett's showing, if you're an audio listener, one of the trailers over it. Did you do the thing earlier? They showed, I saw getting strapped to a leg. Did you play soccer that way, or what
I did play soccer that way. Soccer is the only game that uses the leg strap, and it's not even the core soccer game. It is a game within soccer that uses the leg strap. Specifically, Shootout uses the leg strap. Shootout. And I'll be honest, I don't think they needed to have this game in there. It is legitimately, it feels like a mini game of, like, hey, if you want to go mano-a-mano against a friend, like, it's like a gimmick thing, right? Put on the leg strap, you each take a kick at a time. But I think the thing that makes that mode fail for me is that, like, they don't really add in interesting like aspects to it, right? Like Bear's showing it right here, where it is. Here's the big goal. Here's the big soccer ball, because it's kind of like Rocket League with the big ball and like the small players, right? And then like they launch the ball at you and you kick it. What I wish they did was add in targets, or add in like change up the sizes of the goal, or like add in some flair to it that makes it more interesting kick to kick, because it really is, hey, each player gets 5 kicks, whoever scores more wins, and it's very basic. And I feel like that was kind of a lost opportunity. That said, I think the core soccer game, which plays like Rocket League mixed with actual soccer, because instead of cars, you have actual like human quote unquote players, even though they're the sports mates or whatever they're calling them, the Mii replacements. You have that, which is like you can play 1v1 or 4v4, and that is more involved, right? That is more interesting. That has more layers to it, and it is the one sport in the game that has you use both Joy-Cons, and you're playing it like an actual game, right? You're pressing the buttons.
You're using the joystick to move your character here.
Yeah, you're using the joystick to move your character. You're using the one of the buttons to sprint. You're using another button to like pass. Like, yeah, you have actual mechanics there, but then also you are then swinging to actually kick, right? And so like if you swing left, you do a left kick. If you swing right, you do a right kick, and that is determining the direction of the ball. That I had a bit of fun with. Like I do like the soccer game. It's definitely not Rocket League. I think that's the difficult thing about it, is that as I'm playing this, I'm like, I could be playing Rocket League, because Rocket League is more involved. Rocket League has more flair. Rocket League has the boost pads. Rocket League has the mechanics of driving around the car, and like the turbo. Like there's so much that goes on in Rocket League that makes it more mechanically interesting and makes it more involved compared to soccer in this, which feels like a very stripped down version of that. For what this package is, I think it's fine, but it's definitely not I don't play this and go, oh man, I can't wait to work my way up the leaderboard in this. I go, all right, cool. If I didn't have Rocket League, or if I'm just looking for something to do in Wii Sports, then I'll play this with my friends. So like that's pretty much soccer. I don't know how much more of it I'm gonna play as of now. I will jump back in when they have online to see how that goes, but that wasn't one of the ones that really grabbed me.
Question before we move on. This is an overall thing, but I want to make sure I understand. When you're talking about online, do you know how that works? Is it open lobbies, online leaderboards? Like I saw the debut trailer back when they announced this, but I haven't looked into it and I don't remember much about it.
Yeah. So like right now for single player, for what's available, right? Like you jump into the game, you have 3 options. You have online, you have local multiplayer, and then you have like single player, right? And it's basically like for the local menu, you jump in and it shows the 6 sports, and you choose the one and you just get thrusted into the game. For online, I believe there is an online like walkable lobby that like you get thrown into, and you are like,
PlayStation Home's back, Andy. It's Nintendo Home now.
Exactly. You go into your Nintendo home and you're like, oh shit, soccer's over there. I'm gonna go hang out with soccer and queue up with somebody, right?
Okay.
There's also like a ranked system. They have a cute name for it, but it's basically ranked, where it is cool. I'm gonna work my way up the leaderboard, tournament style, like record my progress, all that stuff. And then you also have earnable gear online, where it is you get cosmetics, you get like new shirts, you get like I think new rackets and stuff, right? Like you get all that stuff, which you can't get through offline, which I think is a big miss for this one. Like if you're playing by yourself or you're playing with friends or whatever, you want to like get some sort of progression to it. Unless you're playing online, it seems like that's just not an option. And so I'm very curious to see like if the online stuff actually hits. Like Barrett's showing footage here now, right? And it is like I think you can get like new style rackets, like tennis rackets, badminton rackets, special balls for bowling, stuff like that. All that stuff seems like it's only available through online, which is cool for online and folks who want that carrot on the stick to keep on going and have something to do and have something to work for. But then if you're playing offline, or if you just feel like playing with friends, it seems like it's very much like, hey, you have what you have. You're going to play this the way you played Wii Sports back in the day, which is you're just playing for the sake of the game. You're playing for the love of the sport, which granted, like even Wii Sports had, I believe, like the more you played a game, the more the difficulty would ramp up, and they would show you like the chart of like, hey, you knocked out this boxer, now your difficulty is going up this much. They had that in original Wii Sports. They don't even have that here. It is very pure, like you're jumping into the sport, you're jumping back out, and you're playing just for the sake of getting that experience of playing. That said,
Andy Cortez, you had a question?
Go for it.
The stuff that you're unlocking, is that can you swap between either this newfangled me person or your old me? Like the clothes you're unlocking, is it only for that person or only for the current me, or can you use them for both?
That I'm not sure of, because I've not gotten the chance to mess around with that. But it seems like I do want to shout out I believe they're called Sportsmates. I want to shout out to the Sportsmates because I do like the design of them.
Me
right?
too.
Like, they feel like Mii's brought into the future. You don't have as much customability with the Sportsmates as you do with the Mii, because I remember like I remember back in the day, like I would play Wii with my cousins, and like they'd go through and they would make all our family members, and like I remember they made my uncle, and it was like perfectly
Spot
him.
on.
It was
Yeah.
spot on. Like he had his eyebrows, his eye, like everything looked exactly like him. You do not have that level of depth to the
Customization.
character creator. Yeah, like they don't have that here with the Sportsmates, but they do look nice, right? And like
Yeah.
I do think they have style, and I do like the clothing that they give them for the default clothing. That said, I have no idea like if you earn a shirt, if that shirt will be interchangeable with me. There for stuff like rackets and for stuff like sports gear, I have to imagine that yes, like that stuff has to be interchangeable because that is separate from what the design of the character is. That is like the thing you're holding, right? The sword, the racket, the bowling ball. I think that stuff will have to translate. As far as like actual wearable gear, I have no idea. But yeah, like back to the sports, like
Yeah, please. So you've so far made it through soccer. My apologies. We're asking too many questions.
yeah, so like soccer's cool, and yeah, it does feel like the one that has like the most stuff going on stuff going on in it mechanically. That said, it doesn't feel like one that, at least for me, that I want to go back to. Like it feels still basic in that. And like Wii Sports, I think the reason why Wii Sports works so well is that like Wii Sports was so basic, but it was so basic that anybody can jump in and anybody can have fun and anybody can like feel like they are playing tennis or like, you know, think about how they want to bowl and all that stuff. Soccer feels like it's in that in-between space of being very basic, but then like having that added layer of like, you know, you have the different ways to swing, you have the diving headers, you have a sprint mechanic, you have like enough stuff there that I think makes it not as accessible if I was to get my dad to jump into Nintendo Switch Sports or something like that.
Sure.
Tennis does have that, right? Tennis had that before. Tennis still has that. Tennis is still tennis. The only different thing is playing with the Joy-Cons. I feel like even though the Joy-Cons I think are more precise, it somehow feels more difficult, which I think is actually a good thing. Like it feels like it's way more based on the actual timing of your backswing or your front swing. And like I feel myself getting sweaty, like playing tennis on hard mode against the computer, right? Like it feels like an actual like fuck, man, like this game is actually hard. Like I can't figure out how to like get past the computer. And it's a stark contrast actually to badminton, because badminton works mechanically the same way, right? Obviously it's badminton rules, and so like you're not bouncing off the floor or anything like that. But for badminton, it's first to five, and where tennis feels so much about timing and hitting your hits accurately and trying to get what's right between the backhand and the forehand. Badminton feels like it's more about the precision of where you are placing the ball, right? Like I think there is more freedom of.
Excuse me. Where you placing the
shuttlecock.
The shuttlecock. Where you putting
Sorry,
the shuttlecock.
the shuttlecock.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It does feel
Andy,
more.
I took. And first off, I appreciate the excellent pronunciation from One Blessing, because I just call it badminton. You know what I mean? I know there's a T in there, but I just don't care. You know.
Well, I call tennis Goodmanton.
What?
That was really good.
Fuck, Andy. Great job. Great
Overwatch
job. But
too.
I took the badminton class in gym class. I remember certain things.
Yeah, but yeah, there's like a precision to badminton that feels like you have a bit more control than tennis, and it feels meant for that, which I like. And so like, you know, there in the flow of the back and forth of badminton in this game feels different from tennis, where tennis is what it was, right? Badminton in this game feels a bit more. The more you go, the more opportunity there is to like get that perfect strike on your opponent, where it is you are spiking the ball and, you know, your opponent dives for it, gets like the imperfect hit that lobs the ball up, and then that sets you up for another spike, and your opponent can't get back up because they're on the floor from the last dive, right? Like you're thinking about it in that way. Yeah, they're dead. They're fucking dead.
Bless, how do you move around? Are you using like the left stick on one Joy-Con to move your character and then the right one to waggle?
No. In badminton, it works exactly like tennis, where you aren't moving your character at all. And tennis is still the same way from Wii Sports, where you're not moving it at all.
AI is just moving you into place.
AI is moving you into place, and yeah, it is more. It is about timing, and it is about like how you're swinging the motion to actually like get the good swing and get the good hit in. Volleyball, you can move yourself, right? Volleyball I've not talked about yet, and like it's funny because all these sports feel like they are in when you think of like motion games, like these feel like similar versions of themselves. Volleyball does feel very distinct, right? Because it is working off of the like what do they call it? The bottom hit. the set. No, set is the one with like the hands up.
Surf.
There's like the bottom hit, there's the set, and then there's the spike. I can't think of what the bottom hit is called, but it is working off of that same flow where it is 2v2. You see the ball, the ball gets served to you. You are doing like the bottom like bounce, right? And like it based on who is positioned where, and the game very much makes it clear like what turn it is, right? If you are the person that's getting that bottom hit, right? They tell you, and you are setting up for that. And then if you are the person getting the set, right? Like you have to have that level of teamwork and back and forth with your teammate that works for volleyball.
Pass.
It makes it
pass. This is pass.
pass. Okay, yeah, the
Set.
pass.
I thought for sure we had dead to rights wrong on that one, but
No, my sister played volleyball back in the day. I know all the terminology except for what a pass is. But yeah, like you have that level of back and forth with your teammate that I think makes it fun. And then you can actually control your character. I believe your character also controls themselves, but if you're wanting position, right? Like you can see it in your opponent's eyes that they want to go for the right. You can preset it so that like you are inching toward that way. What you're just moving the analog stick, right? You can basically can position yourself is what I mean, right? And so like volleyball, I've had a lot of fun with for that. Like I think it is out of the new stuff, probably my favorite sport. I've not talked about Shambara, which is sword fighting. And that feels like an iteration of what they had. They had a similar game in Wii Sports Resort. It feels like more of that. The way they've twisted it this time around is that they have 3 different swords that you can choose from. They have the regular sword, they have the charged sword, and then they have the two-handed sword, which is just 2 swords in your hand, right? And each of them have their own mechanics to them. The way it works is basically you are trying to deplete your opponent's health and or knock them off the stage by getting hits on them in a direction that they're not blocking, right? And so it's like horizontal hits get blocked, right? Whereas the the parallel like lined up hits actually get the hit on your opponent. And so it is you trying to use the motion to like get that perfect thing. And
this
like
is the one I look at, and it like, you know, not the charge sword or the new swords or anything, but the actual gameplay looks so much like what we've seen before from the Wii Sports Shambara.
Yes, yeah. This it does feel like that. I think the thing that probably is the new thing is the different swords.
Sure.
And like, you know, I found this one fun, and I think this is the one where the accuracy of the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons actually really does come into play. They do the thing where they're like, okay, hold the thing vertical, then press the button to then reset it, because it is all based off of the gyro motion as opposed to like a sensor or anything like that, like the Wii Motion Plus was. And if it plays the way it's supposed to play, right? Like it feels good. It's the first few matches I did with it, I was like, okay, cool, yeah, this is fun. It's one that I don't know if I'm gonna come back to it to play it in single player. I do want to play it for online to see like how sweaty people get and see like, all right, I could see myself playing this against Andy and being like, all right, like coming down to the wire, like both of us are like reading each other's moves and like trying to figure out how to block each other. It seems like it might be fun for that. But yeah, like overall in terms of my Nintendo Switch Sports experience, like it's cool. Like if I was to give a score right now, like and this is without online, and I'm kind of hesitant to even say a score because I'm not going to consider this my final review. This is very much a review in progress because of the lack of online.
Andy, put it in the official minutes of this meeting. This is not a final review. This is a review in progress. Thank you.
This is a review in progress. I would give it a 3 out of 5 as of now, without playing online. Just playing the games, seeing how iterative it is from original Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. Yeah, like I imagine with progression, with actual players, which of course are going to play differently from computers, I think that's going to bring some to it. But I wonder how much it's going to bring to it, right? I wonder how much I feel compelled to go back and get the progression and earn gear and do all these things. And then also like when they add golf, how much is that going to bring, right? Like I think golf is the one sport where that's the one that I can't wait to sit down and like actually play multiplayer with you guys and go through 9 courses or 18 courses and see how that goes and actually do online progression stuff and unlock maybe new fucking
clubs. They call them clubs.
Thank you. I was gonna say bats. You unlock the new clubs, right? Like, go for it.
Did they mention anything, Bless, about about golf? I know they mentioned kind of in that first reveal that it was going to be in fall or October or something like that. Do we have any more specificities?
No, we don't. I thought it was supposed to be sooner than that, though, right? Like I thought it was supposed to be like
at the trailer
summer.
now, and it's
fall is what I thought it said.
This fall is what
Damn.
it says right here.
I didn't realize it was that far away.
First off, I think this game looks gorgeous, and maybe I'm just used to, again, I always shit on Mario Golf and how much I hated the look of that. But even just the vibe of a lot of what Barrett has shown us so far gives me a lot of Knockout City vibes visually. Super bright, colorful, fun. I think a lot of that comes from these sort of sports. What are they called? Not the Mii's, but the
sports mates.
Yeah, the sports mates. I just think they look so much fun, and I think visually they've kind of nailed the aesthetic that they are going for. Yeah, this looks like a lot of fun, man. I'm super stoked for it. I think this will make for great streams. Like we could do like some cool tournament streams and stuff like that. Get really exhausted on stream, standing up. My stand-up desk, Greg. You know, what I mean?
Yeah, no,
it looks really pretty.
So that's you gave it a 3 out of 5. Not a final review score, but that's right now okay. Thank you very much, Bear, for putting that back up. Not final, but okay. What does that mean to you right now? Is it that are you compelled to come back to this game? Do you think online will offer you enough that you're gonna be like, oh, I'm really into this and I want to keep going?
Right now, I hope so. I think if online wasn't a thing and I was left with what I've been playing for the last 2 days, I'd be like, cool, I think I'm done. Like I might come back for golf and play that for a day or two, right? Or I might even come back for bowling because I didn't do much with bowling because I did a couple rounds and I was like, this is exactly the same.
This is bowling.
We bowling, yeah. Like this is that, right? But it seems like it would be a fun one to have with friends, right? If you have a Switch and you're bringing friends over and they're like, yeah, do you feel like playing bowling? Like I haven't played Wii Bowling in a minute. Like, okay, cool, let's do it, right? It seems like one of those, but it's one that. For me playing single player in my room, right? I am like, there's nothing for me here as of now without the progression of online. I do think online is going to bring some to it, but I'm in wait and see mode. You know, it is nice to see it in HD. It is nice to see it with like the some more pretty environments, and I do like the sports mates aesthetically. I will say I wish it brought more in terms of soundtrack. The one like dope song in here is a remix of the Wii Sports theme, and it plays when you're out back in the menu. But yeah, I feel like there was quite a few missed opportunities for even stuff like that to add more life into it.
My question then becomes this. I think it's unfair to compare it directly. And I mean, obviously we should for gameplay wise, but in terms of like presence and staying power, I think it's unfair to compare it to Wii Sports. Obviously, Wii Sports was a fucking moment in time if you lived it, right? The Wii was completely different. It was that game, of course, that anybody came to your house, they could pick up that Wiimote and they could be bowling and having a great time. And then it inspires countless families, and I mean parents and, dads and moms and grandmothers and grandpas.
Future athletes too.
Exactly. Well, no, they were done. They were burned out. Yeah. To go get it and play at home, right? So I don't think it's fair to compare that. What I would ask for a more apt comparison contemporary-wise, if you were to have been working at KindaFunny, what would you have scored 1-2 Switch?
I never played 1-2 Switch.
Oh, interesting.
Neither did I.
God, you guys call yourself fucking.
I mean, they didn't bundle that shit. You got to bundle that shit.
They should have bundled it.
You worked here though, Andy. We had a copy. Why didn't you ever play with us?
No, I didn't work here.
No, you did. Didn't you?
No. I mean,
in 2017?
At the launch of Switch, no, I was still at Rooster Teeth.
But you came like right after it. Like you were here like a month later. Like,
it was like a month later.
People stopped talking about 1-2 Switch like 3 days after the Switch came out.
Thank you, Bear. That's why I like you on this show. That's my thing about it. Where 1-2 Switch was a game that I think a lot of people picked up, tinkered with, okay, whatever, and then put down until they had people over. I was cleaning up my phone because I have too many. I have like 70,000 photos on it, and it's
how many ice cubes? Greg?
Exactly.
How many ice cubes are in there? There's 4 ice cubes.
Can you get the baby? Can you get the baby to sleep? Can you shoot things real quick?
Rock the baby.
And it's that thing I was going through, and I found photos of me and Jen and Scott Lowe and Neil Druckmann playing it at the house one night. And it was that thing of like, I remember I was like, why do we play 1-2 Switch? And I was like, oh, well, they came over and I think we were reviewing all this stuff. It's so brand new. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody. And so that was the thing. There's that video of me playing the 1-2 Switch shooting game against Kojima, right? Like there was those moments of it, but 1-2 Switch was such a coffee table book. You know what I mean? Not one you fucking read and had anything to do with it. It was just something that was there, and then maybe somebody booted it up to play for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then you put it down.
You put it near the Monopoly that you bust out once every year and a half.
Don't fucking talk shit about Monopoly, all right?
Stupid ass game, dude.
Get to a real fucking house. Come over here for some shrimp scampi, and I will play some Monops with you, all right? And we will have a great time, and you'll see.
And by the way, Mike still complains that you knew more about him in Monopoly, even though he said that he knew how to play, and he was like, suddenly Greg's mortgaging things, like he's cheating, he's doing things.
Well, yeah, Mike didn't know you should mortgage in Monopoly. What a clown! You know what I mean? There's another guy. Anyways, though, my question is, if we get off of the bit for a second, and thank you, Barrett, for that great B-roll of me and Kojima. The question becomes, do you think that's the future for this? Is Nintendo Switch Sports going to have a thriving online or a lengthy life, like in any way, shape, or form beyond just like something people have fun with for a night or two and then put down? Is it going to be something that you could see couples, roommates, whatever, having like, oh, it's bowling night, we bowled these nights or whatever? Like, is it going to be a standing thing that way?
I find it hard to imagine so. If it was like a $10 thing or a $20 thing, then I'd be more along the lines of like, oh, maybe I could see it, right? The price is going for the digital version is $40, and I would not pay $40 for what I've been playing. It just doesn't feel full enough or compelling enough or new enough in a way that gets me excited to play it. It feels like more of what we've gotten before. It reminds me of like Wii Sports Resort. When Wii Sports Resort came out, right? Like, they came out alongside the Wii Motion Plus, but like, how often do we talk about Wii Sports Resort? How often do we talk about Wii? What was it? I think it was Wii Sports Club that came out for the Wii U. Wii U had a sports game that I don't think anybody remembers or anybody talks about, right?
Well, nobody cared about the Wii U.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true, actually. A big part of that is the fact that the Wii U was a failure. But I think there is something of, not even something, right? I think the way that that Switch Sports / Wii Sports is set up, right? It is meant to be this basic thing. It is meant to be like this ease of access, get in, play a sport, get out. Cool. This is a game that you play when you have people over and you're looking for something to do, right? And like the Wii Sports, we have such good memories of it. And I think that is partly because it is, it's almost surprising how good Wii Tennis was, how good the baseball game was, right? How good Wii Bowling was, and how well all those hit for like all the different family members that came through and bought it and play them. But like,
I'm just thinking of the baseball meme, the and nice cock.
I see on TikTok all the time. I love it.
I love that one. But yeah, like that I felt like was such lighting the bottle because motion controls were new, because it was packaged in with the Wii, right? Like, if this was packaged in with the Nintendo Switch, I think that would be a different story. I think that would see it have that same level of like, oh shit, like this is here, it's at the launch, like there are 5 launch games to play, this is one of them, let's call Timmy over.
It would be like 1-2 Switch.
It'd be like 1-2 Switch, but even 1-2 Switch, I think, burnt out because it was something you have to buy. And this is something you have to buy and something that's coming out in the midst of many other games, right? There's already a Switch library. Mario Strikers is coming out in like a couple of months, and that's going to, I think, directly compete with it to some extent. I find it hard to find this game lasting the rest of the year, or even like a few months, right? I think golf is going to bring people back for like maybe a little bit, maybe a couple of days. I think online, again, I think that might bring people in longer than it would have before because of the earnable gear. I think you will see maybe a couple weeks of people being like, ah, shit, look at this new tennis racket I just earned. But it's hard for me to think of this game, like us talking about this game in, let's say, June or July.
Yeah.
I've been raising my hands like a goddamn madman.
But you did it like you were trying to praise Jesus. I wasn't sure if you were just like excited about golf. What's the question?
Everybody, Barrett, stricken from the record. Strike it from the record. Write it down for the record. Pizza bet time.
Oh, shit. I love a good pizza bet.
This game will explode.
Whoa.
It's going to be huge.
This game will explode. With the amount of units out in the world of Switch, with the amount, with what social media can do, with the amount of people that know that Wii Sports was such a gigantic thing, but nobody has a Wii anymore. Like, people will still play Wii games when they have get-togethers, and they will still play Wii Sports, and this is the brand new version of that, and everybody has a goddamn Switch now.
Yeah.
I think, and with people feeling more and more comfortable going over to people's houses and having parties and get-togethers,
it's going to be the
this
inverse.
Game will explode.
The inverse of Animal Crossing,
yes,
which of course was going to be big to begin with, but we all got locked in because of COVID.
Maybe not that far, Barrett.
It's just this giant thing.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Okay, no. Barrett, if you're an audio listener, Barrett has written Switch Sports will be the new Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But that does come in. So what do you mean explode? And I think we know, obviously, you would talk about it, but are you willing to put? Are you like, I have the top whatever this list is of Nintendo Switch software? Do you want to try to put it on there? You think somewhere? Is it going to be that big?
I think that this will be much bigger than 1-2 Switch because 1-2 Switch wasn't a newer version of a Wii Sports. Like, I think when Greg talks about how 1-2 Switch came and went, it wasn't necessarily trying to be a newer version of that. I think, if anything, 1-2 Switch was Astro's Playroom on PS5. Let's show you the new gimmicks and what this hardware can do while still being interactive in some way. I think this new version of Wii Sports or Switch Sports, whatever the fuck they're calling it, will. I just see this taking off on like social media. Somebody's gonna throw a fucking Switch remote into their goddamn TV again. Like, it's all just gonna happen again. Time is a flat circle.
Right
I'm
now,
not gonna say this will do numbers like Wii Sports because obviously that was a packaged into game, but I do think this will do numbers and sort of hit an NPD of like a top 5 of the month.
Okay.
I think
that's probable,
Yeah.
right, in terms of what's coming out this month.
I think that's probable. I think the more interesting thing is how it does in the million range, because the Switch has the Switch effect where any big Nintendo IP that comes out on the Switch is like the best it performs out of its franchise, right? Like, you look at Metroid Dread, you look at Breath of the Wild, you look at Mario Odyssey, you look at like these games all have this magical effect in terms of success because of the Switch and because of how sticky the Switch is in terms of user base and how much the user base loves to buy Nintendo games, but then also how many Switch hardware units are out there. In terms of the actual numbers, like in the million range, how much Nintendo Switch Sports will do, if I had to guess, I'd say 4 million.
Okay.
So
1-2 Switch,
right?
1-2 Switch is at right now, according to Wikipedia's list of best-selling Switch games. 1-2 Switch is at number 25 with 3.18 million sold. Now that's as of December 2019. So I mean, that's clearly not going to be up to date.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread did 2 mil, right? I believe around 2-ish. I think.
When you talking about like first month?
Yeah, like, I mean, maybe not the first month, but just I think lifetime. I remember when we were doing
Metroid Dread currently on this has 2.74 million sold as of December 2021.
I'm gonna say
That's
so since October, that's been what, 8 months ish? No, 6 months ish.
Yeah,
since October.
Like yeah.
I'm gonna say like in the first 6 months, this new, I don't even know what the goddamn game is called. So I'm kind of like
Nintendo Switch Sports.
Nintendo Switch Sports will do. I'm gonna say 6 million.
Wow. Okay.
6 million or plus. I just think it's going to have that sort of effect. And again, like you've already mentioned, Blessing, there's a lot of Switch units out there in the wild. People are always looking to buy new things. And if they hear that this is the newer version of the game that they all loved playing with friends, and I think it's going to be that sort of thing as well. Not only just party games, but let's get active again sort of thing.
I hope so. Like the one thing that makes me not double down on like me being like this game isn't going to hit is the fact that I've not gotten to try online yet. I could see going into online and then playing with people and going, damn, this is a good time. Like us turning this into a stream game of let's all kick back and play golf, or let's all kick back and play bowling.
Yeah.
And that actually turning it around and being oh shit, okay, this is what this needed. This is the next step of Switch Sports. But I do think, right, just playing the games themselves, getting to play the sports, it does feel barren, and I feel like there's a lot of lost opportunity in terms of them making the sports what they can be, especially with it launching with just 6 compared to Wii Sports Resort that had like a lot more. I feel like the 6 should be a lot tighter and a lot more dynamic and more interesting and engaging than they are. It does feel like they could do more, like soccer especially, where I'm like, dude, like Rocket League exists and this is what you brought out. Like I like that's kind of where I stand with it, but I could see online and the progression and stuff maybe igniting some excitement around it.
Would you find yourself comparing it less to Rocket League if the soccer ball was smaller?
No, probably not. I mean, I think it's part of it is the perspective, and then also you like having the big goal. Like, so much of it is leaning into what made Rocket League. It is you being the singular player and like coordinating with your teammates and being like, hey, you play defense on this run, I'll take ball, like you play mid, and like having
kind of
that
like
level
Fall Guys.
Kind of like Fall Guys a little bit, but like Rocket League essentially, right? Like you being on the field at that level and it being this bigger field and it being this arcade thing. The soccer sport very much leans into that and like is going for that, and I don't think it nails it completely. Like it is slower. It is less bombastic. You're going to spend a lot of time off ball. Like you are going to spend a lot of time using stamina and running out of stamina and either standing still or slowing down to try and regain stamina. Versus Rocket League, where you are like constantly on the go. Even FIFA has more stamina than this game, right? Like, it is a slow soccer game that I found hard to get into.
I guess I don't necessarily see it, Greg, as being this game that people are going to try to, get insanely good at and playing online and lobbies and all. I don't see it as that sort of serious of a game. I see it as like this evergreen type game, just like Wii Sports.
Sure.
Was,
No, I can totally envision that. Yeah.
6 months from now, 7 months from now, 8 months from now, people will have another get together and like, let's play Mario Party. Cool. We did that. What next? With sports. Like, I feel like it's going to be one of those games that just kind of exists as an alternative to families getting together, playing board games, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Make an old granny like do the boxing or whatever the fuck and do the sword fighting, and then we're laughing at Granny. She's on TikTok. We're laughing at Granny, and she becomes a gigantic celebrity, Greg, huge celebrity.
Wow.
And then she dies,
Granny.
and then she gives her will to the kids. I'm just trying to like spitball here.
I understand. Yeah.
I would put it more in the category of like the latest WarioWare that came out, and like not that WarioWare is in terms of IP name like as big as Wii Sports, but in terms of that's a WarioWare game for a franchise that is beloved, right? People love WarioWare. This is the definitive like WarioWare game on Switch.
Grannies love WarioWare.
Grannies love WarioWare.
They love the farts and the nose picking. Yeah, totally.
When was the last time you've heard people bring up the last WarioWare game? Like that came out last fall, and I think about a month later, like it was kind of done, right? Even like Super Mario, not Super Mario Party, the latest Mario Party. Maybe that is Superstars, Mario Party Superstars, right? Like that even came and went too for a Mario Party game. Granted, like I think that one, I imagine, like if you look at the sales, right, if you look at user base, it is probably still active to some extent. But I would view this more of along the lines of that tier, if even that tier of Nintendo title that like will come out. The people that want it, and they play it, and then like they're done with it in a month, right? Or they're done with it for however long it takes for them to get the gear they want, and play the games they want. Like it feels like that. Like I would be shocked if 5 months from now, like we're thinking about Switch Sports. I would be shocked even like Game of the Year season, like it comes up in any category except for best family game, but
that's a different conversation. I don't think we're talking about popularity and staying power and a coffee table book and like something you put on with your friends. I don't necessarily think that's Game of the Year. I would
for sure.
Yeah, shocked if it came.
I also think
I'm just talking about like conversations, like in terms of like, oh, what games did come out this year? I think Switch Sports would be a hard one to even to come up unless you are like, okay, what was every game that Nintendo released? Oh yeah, fuck! Nintendo Switch came out, or Switch Sports came out this year.
I think the way we tear through games, though, it's always kind of unfair
for sure
for games like this. Like we kind of we move on to the next thing because that's the nature of the business or whatever.
I also don't know, like with the comparisons to Mario Party and WarioWare. Like WarioWare was never that big, right? Mario Party has been was on the decline for a very, very long time, and then like kind of came back with the Switch and stuff like that. Whereas this,
remember Super Mario Party did really well. It was just then they put out the next version of it. Like Super Mario Party is currently the 7th best selling Switch game on this list, 17.39 million.
Yeah, and so like I could see what Andy's saying of like it's gonna do gangbusters here and stuff like that with the nostalgia factor of Wii Sports, but then on the other side where we're kind of like blessing is at like. This is going to be a good test to see if like was Wii Sports a lightning in the bottle moment that can't be recreated,
Yeah, and I think the thing is $40. Like that's kind of where I come back on is how many people are going to buy this game for $40? Like Wii Sports, if Wii Sports Resort was like a mega hit coming off of Wii Sports, then I'd be like, oh yeah, for sure, like this is going to take off. But like it's not like Wii Sports Resort had the same level of success that the original Wii Sports had, right? Like the Wii Sports game on Wii U, granted Wii U, but also that's one that we forget even existed. I don't know. I think Wii Sports has that IP power, the brand power in terms of something that lives in our brains is something we have nostalgia for and like was a moment, right? But I don't think it has. And this is like far from my review anyway. But like I don't think it has the sales power. I don't know if it has like the $40. I'm gonna fork that up to play these 6 very small games with friends that I may or may not have come over.
Okay,
but we'll see.
We will see. Blessing. I want to report next week when the servers are on. If that did anything for you. Okay, you pencil that in. All right, great.
I'm penciling in.
For now, ladies and gentlemen, strike it from the put it in the record, Andy. That's back to you. You got to put that back in the minutes. We got to report these to Tim at some point. Right now, though, I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, about patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Of course, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames or write in to be part of the show, to get the show ad free, to get it with the post show we do each and every week, and usually watch along live as we record it. But for right now, you can't watch live because of the embargo, and you have to listen to some ads because you're not on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. So here's a word from our sponsors. When I needed a printer, I turned to Twitter, and so many of you told me Brother was the way to go. For more than a year now, Jen and I have been using our Brother printer for immigration paperwork, baby paperwork, and a million other things. It's been great, but you know what printers need? Ink. And while it used to be a hassle to get ink, Brother's Refresh Easy print subscription has made it easy. The Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service is a printing plan that is based on the number of pages you print. You choose a monthly plan based on your print volume needs, color, black and white, and all print for one monthly cost. And instead of having to remember to buy replacement ink cartridges, your printer does the work for you through an intelligent ink and toner level monitoring feature that tracks the remaining amount of ink or toner and orders it before you run out. The Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service is a convenient, worry-free way to print. Each plan is flexible, and you can change or cancel your subscription at any time. So what are you waiting for? Stop running out of ink when you need it most and put your printer to work with the Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service by signing up at brother-usa.com/printwithrefresh. Again, that's brother-usa.com print with refresh to sign up for the Brother Refresh Easy print subscription service and stop worrying about your ink levels. All right, guys, let's chat skincare. If your skincare routine is basically you washing your face in the shower with that one shower gel that you've been using since high school, then it's time to level up your skincare game. Because as it turns out, that regular body wash you've been using that you thought was good enough is probably damaging your skin. But thanks to Lumen, you can drop that bottle of 3-in-1 and start using products that actually take care of your skin. With Lumen, you get the highest quality products. All their products aim to help with those stubborn acne scars, under eye circles, wrinkles, sun damage, dry skin, oily skin, you name it, it's all there. Starting with Lumen is easy. All you have to do is take a 2-minute quiz on their website and they'll tell you exactly which routine is best for your skincare needs. Gia's been using the charcoal face wash and charcoal face scrub and she feels so fresh afterward. She has dry skin, so especially during the winter, it's nice to have that hydration and exfoliation. Also, she's a big fan of the really subtle citrus smell. Level up your skincare game with Lumen Skin today. Go to lumenskin.com/kindafunny to get your free trial of Lumen's products. That's LUMIN skin.com/kindafunny for a free trial. lumenskin.com/kindafunny. Hey computer people, announced at CES and available now, the latest generation of Razer blades feature all new NVIDIA GeForce RTX 30 series GPUs and up to an RTX 3080 Ti featuring a suite of cutting-edge features to improve gameplay, including NVIDIA Reflex. NVIDIA Reflex delivers the ultimate competitive advantage, the lowest latency, the best responsiveness. Get the competitive edge you need at sub 25 milliseconds. And I asked the one, the only, the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez, is that good? And he said, ooh-wee, sub 25 milliseconds is great. And I said, that's fantastic. Acquire targets faster, react quicker, and increase aim precision in the most competitive games such as Apex Legends, Fortnite, Call of Duty, and more. Learn more about the Razer blades powered by NVIDIA GPUs with NVIDIA Reflex technology at Razer.com. Andy, I've had enough of this kiddie Nintendo crap. Tell me about shooting things and taking the payload from point A to point B and calling out, hey, I need help over here in Overwatch 2.
I need heals. Overwatch 2 beta began today. Blessing me and Snowback Mike were able to play today on the Kinda Funny stream, and that video will be up on youtube.com/kindafunnyplays. It's a fun time. Overwatch 2 is a largely very, very similar game, right? A lot of people will be like popping in the chat, this looks the same. What's different about it? Overwatch 2 has moved from a 6v6 format to 5v5 format. There are no longer 2 tanks, 2 damage, 2 heals. It is now 1 tank, 2 damage, 2 heals. And that's to alleviate a lot of issues. Sometimes these play spaces can get really messy. Sometimes the healers kind of have too many targets to try to heal. And also, not a whole lot of people want to play tank. So this sort of alleviates a lot of issues of making the player queues a lot shorter. Luckily, there's a lot of really cool reworks with a lot of different heroes. Today we got to play the brand new hero Sojourn, who is a character who has kind of like an automatic rifle and the more she shoots it and connects with her target, it charges up a beam, and then you can right click to hit like a really strong beam snipe, and it's really dope. She has awesome mobility. She's really fun. I think that's the lighter side of the content. A lot of people are like, how many heroes are there? There's only one new hero, Sojourn. Aside from that,
Well, that's the 33rd hero, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a, yeah, okay.
Yeah, 33rd hero, but a lot of heroes got really drastic reworks. There's a hero named Orisa, and I've always fucking hated Orisa, and I hated when she was the meta to play because it's like, I know you want me to pick her because she's the strongest, but she's boring as all hell. And now she's fun as hell. They upgraded her kit, and she's super mobile. She's got really cool abilities now. She has this spear that you can like just chuck at people, and it sticks in their body. She exactly, Greg, exactly.
I need a heal.
She has this thing where she spins like a fucking sword, and she like she was Blessy was getting fucked up by Orisa's all day.
I was frustrated. I was like, because I've never like cared about Orisa. Like usually when I think about the Overwatch characters that I hate playing against, it is Mei, and then it's like Genji. But today, Orisa made an enemy out of me today. I was like, yo, fuck this.
And Greg, I'm happy to announce here, I made a lot of enemies as Orisa today because I was popping off on Orisa. I had a fun time. I'm so happy she's fun to play because that just adds one extra tank character that feels viable and feels fun. A lot of times when the metas change in Overwatch, and it's like, well, if you pick anybody but these two players as tank, you're throwing the game, and that's like, well, they're not fun to play, but I guess I'll play them. You kind of feel cornered in that area, and I'm so glad that the newer tank characters are more fun to play now. Overall, there's been a lot of sweeping changes, like support characters who are the healers of the group all have a gradual heal where they kind of gradually heal themselves over time. So you don't always have to feel like the healers have to heal each other. You're constantly kind of being healed anyway. There are new modes. There's a new mode called Push where there's like a little robot guy. He's really cute, Greg. He kind of stands in the middle of the field.
Sure.
And when you get to him, you push him towards their side. It's like a tug of war match. And if they kill you and they push in towards your side, that feels pretty action packed. Although I felt like once it gets a little too one-sided, it's probably over.
It's so hard to come back.
Yeah. You're likely not really going to come back. However, there's a lot of new maps. There's a Toronto map, which is gorgeous, snowy, really cool. The New York map, awesome as hell. It's a hybrid map where you unlock the payload, then you push the payload. New
Great
York
music on that map too.
New York, yeah, great music. But New York just has a really cool visual look, and I think Overwatch has always killed it with their aesthetics and having this sort of unified art direction. Visually, not a whole lot has changed. I don't feel they have an upgraded version of the engine they've been running on, and it looks a bit cleaner, I'd say, but not nothing too drastic. There's not like ray tracing or anything like that. Plus, you want all the frames you can get, so you always kind of have your visual settings set pretty low anyway. But yeah, there's a lot of new maps, new modes, and again, only one new hero, but about 5 different heroes got complete reworks to where they operate in a completely different way. Whether they, I think they wanted to push away or pull away, Greg, from like what they called the Shield Watch era, where
the Shield Watch
2 tanks would just get 2 shield characters, and it's like, when you're the other team, you're just shooting shields, and it's so unfun, and it just feels stagnant in a way. So really, the only character with a shield now is Reinhardt, the big guy with the big shield and the hammer. And a lot of the other characters who had shields no longer have them. It just feels a lot faster. It feels a lot more brawly, right, Bless?
Yeah. Like you mentioned while we were streaming that there's a lot more like moments for heroes to like have their moments for heroes to have their moment, right? Like those hero moments where it is, oh shit, there's a Reaper play. Oh shit, there's this play, like XYZ thing is happening. In the way that it was before, where it was the 6v6, like 2 tanks, 2 heals, 2 whatever. I think it was real easy for things to feel unmanageable and for tanks to have like dominate like whatever's going on, right? And all focus to be on that. Whereas now, for the matches we were doing, we were playing like it's 2-1-2, right? So like 2 healers, 2 attack, and then a tank. And with me and Mike playing healers, I was playing Mercy, he was playing Baptiste. I found way more space to feel like I was making a difference, right? And like I know Mike felt like he was making a difference, he was killing it, right? And like for the one tank, that is vital because I found that if you can get the tank down, you can get the rest of the team down. And so now the one tank you have on your team does feel way more vital than ever before, but it's not a game that is being dominated by tanks, if that makes sense. And then of course like DPS has DPS, right? And so like I really like the changes. I like how much more space it feels like you have on a map in terms of managing what's going on, especially as a healer, right? As Mercy, you can kind of see where your 4 teammates are, and it feels like you are playing a strategy
You're
game
not
at that
suffocated
point.
really anymore.
You're not suffocated, you're not scrambled, you're not like, oh, I gotta jump here, I gotta jump here, I gotta jump here. I am like, cool, I'm gonna focus in on our tank. Now I'm gonna focus in on Andy as our attack and like make sure he's good. And it does feel a lot easier and a lot more strategic. Or at least you have the ability, I think, at a lower level to feel that level of strategy that you wouldn't have unless you were playing at a way higher level. And so I like that too.
Yeah, I think a big criticism that people have of it is that it just kind of feels like a 5v5 Slayer mode now. And that is pretty deliberate on Blizzard's part because Overwatch was a 6v6 game that required a lot of teamwork. And I think it reminds me almost like Evolve, Greg, where it's like in an ideal world, everybody's down to play these roles and be super strategic and be with their teammates and on comms and everything. And over time, I feel like people just aren't on voice chat anymore. People are, maybe it's just me and Bless with 4 randos, and you're not necessarily always trying to make the best team play. You feel like you're one of 6 players just kind of for themselves trying to survive. And a lot of what these changes are doing is to make yourself not feel like you need to be running with 4 other people in order to be successful.
So
a lot of times when you join up against other players, and if you're playing against a 5 stack or a 6 stack, it's like they're all on comms. That's a group of friends. We're going to get our shit kicked in because it's only me and Blessing and 4 other randos. We're not going to, obviously they're way more coordinated than we are.
So my question becomes this: is I've been listening to you guys go, and you're talking about the move from 6 to 6 to 5 to 5, fixing so the fewer tanks since people don't like to play as tanks, hero reworks. Does this feel like something that could have just been an update to Overwatch 1? Like in a side, I guess a sub question to that is like the hero reworks you're talking about. Are those exclusive to Overwatch 2, or are those in Overwatch 1 now as well?
Those will all be sweeping changes. If you have Overwatch 1, you will have access to Overwatch 2 multiplayer. The Overwatch 2 single player component is going to be the one that kind of you have to buy or whatever. Yeah. I don't think so, Greg. And I think initially I was like, why not just update it, right? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to put a new number on it. And a lot of times companies do that because
you want to sell.
Yeah, sales and when you talk about the end of the quarter sort of reports and all that sort of stuff. I think that changing Overwatch 1 from 6v6 to 5v5 would have just gathered a lot of hate, and it still didn't gather a whole lot of love from the community. But I think making it a brand new game in quotes, right, and putting a number on it makes it feel like the 5v5 change is a little bit more acceptable because it's a brand new product, as opposed to like, hey, this game Overwatch you've been playing your whole lives, guess what, it's 5v5 now. It's like, what the fuck? You just can't do that. Like, COD isn't going to go from 5v5 to 4v4 in the same patch. They're going to come out with a new game to maybe change that. So I feel like the number change is super vital only for the 5v5 portion of it. Everything else feels like they could just be patched,
I think it's vital in the way that this feels like the biggest update / rework that the game has ever gotten. And like there are a lot of people in chat that were asking like, all right, what's new about this? This looks like Overwatch 1, like, it looks like the same thing. But I view the 2 on it as less of this is Overwatch 2, a brand new game, and I view it more as this is Overwatch 2.0. Like this is the next step of Overwatch in terms of making it feel like something that's brand new and fresh, and making it feel like hey, we're taking the thing that already works and fixing all these problems at the same time, and adding in a new hero and adding in these maps and adding in like this big rework that makes it feel like the next step in a new iteration of the thing. And then you do have single player, right, which is going to add in so much content. It is going to be like why you're buying Overwatch 2. Because Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like Overwatch 2, is that going to cost? Is that going to be a thing that people buy when that comes out if they don't already own Overwatch 1?
The single player component, yes.
Okay.
Based on what I've been reading, if you own Overwatch 1 multiplayer, Overwatch 2 multiplayer is free. Like all of your stuff transfers over, all of your skins, anything you've unlocked, everything is transferred over automatically to 2. And just like today, I log into 2 and all my skins are there. Everything is unlocked.
And then my one question would be, you're talking about like, the game you've been playing forever. It's now 5v5, whatever. Once Overwatch 2 comes out, you can still play Overwatch 1 if you wanted to still have that 6v6. You wanted to still have the experience of having that team kind of.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know. Like right now, Overwatch 1 is still up right now.
Sure.
I don't think so. I think this does take over that.
Interesting.
I imagine
Good question. I haven't thought of that, I guess.
there must be like an arcade mode, because they have arcade modes where it is like stuff that's come through and that they've like removed from modes. Like the quick play used to be you can pick whatever character you want and just roll with it, right? And they changed it so that you do roll queue. They then took what quick play was and added it into arcade mode. Like I imagine that 6v6 might be a thing that just becomes available through that, the way they have like 3v3, they have other stuff there that are modes for Overwatch. So I think it exists in there, but like yeah, I think if you have Overwatch 1, you are going to be ushering into 5v5 for traditional like competitive or quick play modes.
Interesting.
I just had so much fun today. Like it felt like a new product that I was playing, and it felt good to be back. I hadn't played Overwatch in a serious way in a while, and it was just a lot of fun to be kind of with friends, kind of coordinating different plays, calling out who's weak. Like I think Overwatch is just such a solid multiplayer game, and again, I think it's a game that is very inviting of a lot of new players, even though on the surface it may seem really complicated and there's all these different people. Who do I pick? But I love that it doesn't have to be this game that you have to be the ultimate head clicker to play, where a lot of games you hop into Call of Duty and you get your shit kicked in for 30 minutes to an hour and you're like, I just fucking suck. This isn't fun, and that happens a lot, and that can kind of push people away. But like Mike today plays a character named Baptiste who on the left click shoots a burst fire, and it's a hit scan shot. It's really nice and precise. The right click, you shoot a little heal grenade at your teammates. And somebody said Mike's playing today as if his left click is unbound, because he wasn't shooting at the other team at all. He's like, I'm healing, bro. He was like, I'm having fun healing, keeping my team alive. Like, that's my objective. And he never once shot at the other team, but we were still successful because he was healing me and I was the one. Like, so it's just such a great game. It has such a great balance to it. And I'm so excited to watch the pros play it. The funniest thing is like Tam and Lucy and everybody who was a part of the preview sessions before today's more public kind of beta, is that it was select members of the press, a couple people from IGN as well, against a bunch of pros and former pros. And Tam,
I'm sure that went well.
Tam was texting me like, this is a fucking nightmare. Like, I'm getting my ass kicked all day and night. Like, I can't wait for Bless, did you know we played with Tam today?
Oh, did we really?
Tam was on our shit out of him.
Tam was on our team today,
and
so funny. And we didn't know. And at one point I saw like Tam has logged off, and I was like, oh, we should invite Tam. And he texted me like, oh, it felt so great to see people I know in the game because I'm getting my ass whooped all day. So it's really cool to be able to kind of play against people that are of similar skill level, but I'm excited to see what the pros can do with this as well, because I'm a big fan of the Overwatch League as well. So being able to see people who know what the hell they're doing and how they take advantages of these strategies, it's back, man. I'm so excited.
I'm very impressed by the balancing updates with this one, because like you mentioned that Overwatch is just a fun game, even if you're jumping in and you're like, oh, this seems complicated or whatever. Like playing today took me back to when I first started playing Overwatch. I think it was actually the beta for Overwatch 1 that came out like a month or so before the actual game release, where I was like, oh man, everybody's talking about this Overwatch game. Let me give it a shot. And I played my first match as Reaper, and immediately was like, oh, I get this. It clicks. This is fun. This has an amazing art style. Like this has great feeling shooting mechanics, right? And like the more you play, the more you learn, and the more you're like, shit, this game just keeps on opening up. I keep finding new characters, I keep finding new abilities, I keep finding new ways to play and new strategies and all that. With Overwatch 2, right, playing this beta, I felt like I was finding that again. I think one with Sojourn being the new character, but then also with the reworks that you're talking about, hopping back and forth between characters and like trying out this new version of Orisa, right? Or seeing characters use the new version of Doomfist and like
Doomfist is now a tank. He's no longer a damage player, you know.
yeah. Like seeing people explore that has been so fun and has felt like like that. Those are the moments that have made this feel like Overwatch 2 to me, and not just a 1.08 or whatever.
It's funny because I think the game will also, like any game, you know, the toxicity exists, right? And I think toxicity will be ramped up here because now there's a scoreboard, Greg, and now you can hit the tab button, which you never used to be able to do before.
Yeah.
It's just you got to the end of the game, you had medals. It was based on a medal system. So what would happen, Greg, if I'm a tank or if I'm a healer and I see that I have a gold damage, I'm typing in chat, DPS, where the fuck are you? Damage players, what are you doing? Come on, y'all. Like, I have gold damage. I shouldn't have gold damage. And you just kind of knew, you know, at times I'd be playing with our friend JD and he'll be like, I have gold damage and I'm a tank. How about you? I was like, I have silver damage and I'm a tank. So our DPS
I'm gonna miss
doing
that.
shit.
That was my favorite comment to make. Is like, I'm on heals. Why do I have a golden heal and damage?
So now you can hit tab and you can see everybody's elims, everybody's assists, everybody's deaths, everybody's damage, and you can kind of see immediate impact in what's happening in real time, which will likely lead to some more toxicity. But if you're on console and there's no text chat, it's all good. Nobody can type into chat.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like that change, but it'll probably roll on me. Like it's in every other FPS. But I'm like, damn, one of the reasons I like playing Overwatch so much is that like I wasn't thinking about what somebody else is doing. I was only focused on like how many gold medals I can get, and like I was good. But now that I can see like, oh shit, all right, everybody else has 5 more kills than me. Fuck, like I feel like that's gonna cause for like you're saying, right, a lot of like griefing between players. But
there'd be times where
the
like
end of the world.
I might be doing bad, but everybody decides to focus on somebody else, and I'm like, yeah, dog, why are you so shitty right now? And it's like I'm also doing terrible, but there was anonymity. Nobody could really tell how anybody was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just so happy that Overwatch feels like it's back in a meaningful way, and there's finally new content. It's been the longest drought without any meaningful content, and that's. And it's all because it's been going into Overwatch 2, which is really exciting.
One more thing I wanted to mention on the balancing thing as well. You mentioned that like with the preview, right? Like you'll see Tam and Lucy talk about how they're playing against pros and how they're just getting smacked and all this stuff. The thing I was surprised about today is how much we weren't getting smacked. Like it felt like there was a good balance of us actually winning matches. Like we might have won most of the matches we played. At least that's what it felt like. I wasn't feeling discouraged at any point. And we did start off like playing against XQC, the streamer on the other team. And him and his team fucking whooped us.
He was a former pro for the Dallas Fuel and Team Canada. And like, so he knows Overwatch and he's been playing Overwatch 2 for a while. And when we queued up against him, we were like, that's probably not XQC. And I was like, no, it probably is. Like, not a whole lot of people have access to it right now. And sure enough, I switched over to his stream and I was like, oh yeah, he fucking dominated.
I fucking hate KindaFunny and I'm going to kill these idiots.
And in that moment, I was like, fuck, man. All right, this is what it's going to be. We're playing against a bunch of high level players and we're just going to get dominated the whole time. But I think it's to the credit of the update and like all the rework changes they've done where it didn't seem like there was a consistent, this is the comp and we're getting destroyed because everybody has an Orisa and an X person and a Y person and a Z person. I feel like there was a lot of freedom to like experiment and figure out like different team comps. And granted that was like we started playing right when the beta went up, and so like there wasn't that enough time for people to figure out what the meta was. But I think even that early, not seeing any of that and having it be a thing of, all right, Mike loves Baptiste, so he's gonna play Baptiste. I dig Mercy, and I'm just gonna play Mercy, and we're just going to our default characters and still finding success and having fun. I think part of that is how good the 5v5 is versus the 6v6, and how good the setup is of 1 tank, 2 healer, 2 attack. Like it just feels way more set up for people to have the freedom to play the way they want to play and like experiment around. And also the heals thing, right, where it is like whatever character has healing over time. I think that then lends a lot to being able to be individual and not necessarily have to rely completely on having a healer, completely on XYZ thing. Which
Bastion rules now also. Bastion is a character who was known as a very toxic type of hero that when the other team would pick him, they would just sit down, go into a turret form, and somebody held up a shield in front of the Bastion, and the turret person would just go to town. It's like, they have a Bastion. I don't want us to go to Bastion. I don't want us to stoop that low. I fucking hate Bastion. But they definitely made some reworks to Bastion where I think he's way more fun to play. The secondary abilities, shoots like a little grenade at one point. When he does go into his turret form, it's a cooldown ability. So you go into turret form and you can drive around with your turret, then you go back into your robot form. Bastion's a lot of fun. And aside from that, I think Winston got a rework, but I feel like everybody has been saying that he is probably still the worst tank to pick, the big monkey guy.
It feels like such a good example of let's not fix what's not broken in terms of the characters that got reworks and in terms of stuff they have stayed the same. Because like I feel like the heart and like the gameplay and everything I love about Overwatch is still present and still here, but there are a lot of changes, and most of the changes I'm like I have no problem with this, right? And like a lot of the changes, granted, aren't the characters that I usually play, but even hearing Andy talk about his characters or seeing people mess with Orisa or find new characters, like even me, I started playing a little bit as Sojourn, and I was like, this is fantastic. Like I am loving this as a character that typically maybe I won't play, or even playing as tank and playing as Orisa, and me being like, man, usually I hate playing tank, but I'm really enjoying playing as Orisa. Like, a lot of it feels like them acknowledging all the parts that didn't work and really leaning into, all right, if it worked, leave it. Like, don't touch it. We're only going to like completely revamp the things that really do need to get revamped, right? And so that's how you see 2-point capture get nixed, and that is how you see push come through. And like, I hope push gets better because I had fun with it, but I didn't have the most fun with it. Like, I still preferred the other modes.
Same.
Yeah. But I imagine that's just them balancing and having to figure out like, how quickly does the thing push, and like maybe figuring out like making maps feel a bit more smooth for that mode. But
I think the coolest thing is like there was 4 new maps available today, but those aren't the only ones that we've seen previewed before. There's a couple of other high payload maps, and there's I think one extra control map, which is basically your King of the Hill type style game type, which is another one of my favorites. But yeah, I would say push is still my least favorite of the 3, but I'd prefer that to 2-point capture. Assault is what that mode is called.
This beta is going through May 17th. Number one, how can people get into it, Andy? And then have they talked about, okay, in that time, we're giving you other heroes, other maps? Are they changing it, or is it what you played today going to be the experience all the way through May 17th?
I think this is the experience through May 17th. The way you can play, you can watch partnered streamers who have been partnered through Blizzard. So streamers like XQC, streamers basically if you open up the Overwatch 2 tab on Twitch and you see people with the highest amount of viewers, those are probably the people that have the partnership thing where you watch for a certain amount of time and you might be given a code, rewarded a code. Seagull is another really cool Overwatch streamer that I highly recommend. He's really fun, and he's a former pro as well. So yeah, just an absolute blast. I can't wait to keep on playing Bless, and hopefully we can get it back into it tomorrow.
Still no word on when the final release is coming, right? Have they talked about other betas beyond this? Like, I'm sorry to ask noob questions, I'm sure, for Overwatch 2, but it's something I only talk about occasionally on a Games Daily and usually kick to you guys for expert commentary. I didn't know if we knew anything beyond it, or if this was like, this is the big push till May 17th, and then it's kind of radio silence till they have more to say.
I think this is the big push till May 17th, because the most important thing is that in June, that's when Overwatch League starts.
Gotcha.
And we know that I know Overwatch 2 or the Overwatch League has been delayed quite a bit because of Overwatch 2, because they knew they wanted to make the switch over. And that's when we start to see the actual in-person LAN events. Gotcha. With teams facing off against other teams in the league. I think that they're gonna go radio silent after the thing and just kind of be like, all right, we're working on it. It'll be out when it's out. I just have no idea when they can possibly target that. I don't know if it's going to be fall or winter, but I do think that because didn't they announce, Blessing, that they are going to release? No, I'm thinking Halo. That's Halo. They just released the multiplayer first before the campaign, because I was like, I feel like that would benefit them.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
release
it
the
feels
Overwatch 2 multiplayer first, and then whenever this single player thing comes through, here it is.
playing this beta. I'm like, this feels ready. Like this feels like you can put it out. Like, why don't you just put it out? And I wonder if it is like them wanting to like balance it like crazy over the next few months, and then also like how far along is single player going? Is that going to be ready for? This fall, or is it going to be ready for if they were if they were honestly to shadow drop it and go, actually, it is out at the end of the beta. It's coming out May 19th or whatever. Like, is that a thing they can even get away with? But yeah, like I would be down honestly if they were like, actually, we're going to hold the single player, just let multiplayer exist for in perpetuity while we make single player a banger and something that is worth buying when it comes out in the fall or next year.
And it could be like Fortnite when Fortnite was in beta they just had the beta word on there for years, right?
Forever.
It could be like that. It could just be Overwatch 2 beta for the next whoever knows how many months, year or so, 6 months to a year, and we will continue to work and update and improve until we are ready for, until we go gold or whatever.
All right. Well, we will keep you posted, ladies and gentlemen, as we play more Overwatch 2 beta, what those thoughts and opinions are, because that's what we do here on the Kinda Funny Gamescast. Each and every week, we talk about all the things we love and some of the things we don't love about video games. Of course, you can support the show over on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, where we're about to do the post-show, another episode of Kinda Feudy. Of course, you could also watch this record most of the show live. You could write in to be part of the show. And of course, you could be a Patreon producer, watch all the other shows. All this is on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. But you'd also have that added benefit of just knowing you're supporting something you love, which is kind of funny. However, if you don't love kind of funny and it's more of like, I listen to you because I got to do something while I hack up this deer, I understand. Go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, or podcast services around the globe while you're making your venison sausage. I see you out there with your smock on and your big old axe.
The deer. I don't like listening Kinda Funny. I just got to listen to this while I get hacked.
Of course, you have to listen to the ads. You don't get the post show. You don't have all the other benefits that Patreon gives you, but you still have a good time. Right now, we got a post show to do. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you.